It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of August 18th, 2000. We got 3 movies to look at today, so let's go ahead and jump on into it. And we'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is Jennifer Lopez, Vince Vaughn, and Vincent D'Onofrio in Tarsem Singh's The Cell. So The Cell, basically, you follow scientists as they use experimental technology to enter the mind of a comatose serial killer in order to locate where he has hidden his latest kidnapping victim. And, this is one of those movies that really has potential to possibly be something entertaining, not even enjoyable, something entertaining on the lines of something like a mix of Silence of the Lambs meets Dune, but nope. It's just one of those pretentious movies, like those really pretentious psychological thrillers, honestly, that just feels like there's so much more that they're trying to add into this, but it's one of those movies that feels so pretentious. It feels like the writing is trying to have this deep meaning behind it when there's really nothing about it whatsoever. And it's one of those movies that you can easily say is a style of a substance movie. The visual look of the movie is impressive to look at. And I guess the performances in here aren't the worst. I mean, I guess I can't say anything too bad about Jennifer Lopez or Vincent D'Onofrio or Vince Vaughn. They're doing the best they can here, but it's just everything else that really is not worth it. The whole thing about trying to be something much deeper than it actually is, and just having a story that is so, like I say, pretentious, and it has that whole thing of Tarzan basically asking you, what does it mean? I want you to hear your thoughts on this. Like, I want you to write a better movie than anything that I could have possibly have done with this, even though he didn't write this. It's actually by Mark Protosevich, which, trying to see what else he did. He did Poseidon, which is not a good sign, but he also did I Am Legend, which, okay, so hey, everyone can hit beyond right once. If a clock is a broken clock is once every once in a while. That's the metaphor I was trying to get out. Good Lord, it's been a rough weekend, but yeah, this movie really isn't all that great. I mean, yeah, it's got the nice visuals to it, but like I say, visuals don't make the movie, and this is one of those movies that definitely is that case. It's just a boring movie. It's a pretentious film. It doesn't really have anything that interesting at all to say. It's just kind of like it just wants to be something different, but it doesn't have a proper meaning or a proper purpose for somebody to go into this and go, I really enjoyed this. And I came out of this movie going like, this is one of the most boring movies I have ever seen in my life. This is a film that really made me hate Tarsem Singh. I mean, this is a guy that makes movies that could be good, but every time I see a film that has come out, I don't get that feeling that I'm really getting something in return from it. I mean, the best thing he did was The Fall, and even then, it wasn't the greatest of movies, but everything else he's done has not been that great. So that's my thoughts on The Cell. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, the original Kings of Comedy. Of course, the original Kings of Comedy are Steve Harvey, D.L. Hughley, Cedric the Entertainer, and Bernie Mac. And you basically have a movie here where it's basically 2 concerts spliced together into one, where you have them talking about stuff like African-American culture, race relations, religion, family, even the movies of the time. Like, there's a whole rant about Titanic from Steve Harvey, which is really funny stuff here. This is directed by Spike Lee, and basically it's a stand-up movie, but in the best kind of way, because you're getting 4 really talented comedians at the top of their game at that time. I mean, Steve Harvey was a star with the Steve Harvey Show. D.L. Hughley was on the Hughleys. Cedric the Entertainer was slowly building his brand, and Bernie Mac had already pretty much set himself up as a respectable comedic actor. And a couple years from now, he'd actually have his own show on Fox, which is really good. I'd definitely recommend checking out the Bernie Mac Show. I mean, these are really funny guys. Working off each other. It's a great stand-up comedy movie. The jokes, for the most part, are very good. Really, there's not much more I can really add to this, because it is delivering everything that they promised you right here. You're getting some of the best comedic minds of the time period coming together, and it's very interesting to see how all 4 of these guys have basically changed in the 20 years since then. Of course, except for Bernie Mac, who unfortunately passed away only a couple years after this movie came out. But yeah, you completely forget that Steve Harvey did have a full head of hair back in 2000, and D.L. Hughley, he didn't have. I think he still has that crazy hair, that crazy hair he has right now. I don't know. I haven't seen him in a while, but the last time I saw him, he had more hair than that. The only one who really hasn't changed all that much is Cedric the Entertainer, and I mean, there really isn't that much more you can change with Cedric the Entertainer overall. I mean, he pretty much looks like the same person he did back then, and, but yeah, this is a really good movie. This is a really funny stand-up movie with 4 really great comedians giving off some really good jokes overall. It's a really well-made film. I don't have much more to say about that one. If you haven't seen this one, definitely see it, man. It's definitely want to see some good stand-up comedy from 4 really great comedians. This film definitely will do the trick for you. The original Kings of Comedy, I highly recommend it. So let's go ahead and move on to our last film, and that is Godzilla 2000. So this movie was kind of basically TriStar and Sony Pictures basically apologizing for the horridness of Roland Emmerich's Godzilla a couple years ago, and they said, you know what, here, we're going to make it up to you. We're going to take one of the movies from Toho and bring it into America, and the results were not what they thought they were, but certainly got a better reception than the 98 Godzilla film. The movie actually is called in Japan Godzilla 2000 Millennium. It's the 24th film in the Godzilla series. It's actually the first of the franchise's Millennium period. It's also the 23rd film produced by Toho, and it actually was the second reboot of the franchise after 1984's The Return of Godzilla. And most notably, this actually was the last film in the franchise to receive a North American theatrical release up until Shin Godzilla, which came out in 2016. And just recently on talking about the movies, we talked about Godzilla Minus One, which you should definitely check out. And what's the story of this one? So in this movie, this movie basically ignores all preceding movies except for the original 1954 film with a brand new look and a powered-up atomic ray, and this time Godzilla faces a mysterious UFO that later transforms into a mysterious kaiju dubbed Orga. They meet up for the final showdown in the city of Shinjuku, and, I mean, the movie itself is not great, but I think it's mostly because the American dub version adds this soundtrack that just feels completely out of place. I mean, you hear like rock music, like Pantera. I think there's a little bit of Metallica in there too. I could be wrong on that, but there's definitely more of an emphasis on heavy rock and roll music in this, especially during the battle sequences. And I think that really hurt the film in the process having that in there. But you do get some funny over the top moments in there, like in the trailer. There, you see that guy screaming at the top of his lungs, "Godzilla!" with his face like Godzilla, like. It's even funnier when you actually watch the movie. And I mean, I could not believe, like, it's probably supposed to be taken very seriously, but man, when that happened, I couldn't help but laugh my ass off whenever he did that in the actual movie, because it sounds different than it does in the trailer. Even though that trailer one is very funny, it's nowhere compared to the hilarious over-the-topness of the scene in the actual movie. And I don't know if it was played for, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be played up for seriousness, but man, that made me laugh a lot. And there's a lot of this movie that does make me laugh a lot. It's very silly, it's over the top, but it is what you'd expect from a Godzilla movie. I don't think it necessarily succeeded in what they were trying to accomplish, but at the same time, I mean, it's better than what we got with the 98 movie. I mean, you could tell that these people that made this movie know what the hell they're doing with this character that's been around for almost 50 years up to that point. I mean, not much more I can say about this one. It's definitely not the best version of this film to watch overall, but you know what? It's worth it, especially after what happened with the 98 film. I won't say it's a classic by any means, but it's definitely something worth checking out if you're a Godzilla fan. Definitely check it out, Godzilla 2000. And so with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. The next time we meet, we'll take a look at the last weekend of August with 3 movies, including Bring It On with Kirsten Dunst and Gabrielle Union, Wesley Snipes in The Art of War, and Burt Reynolds, Seymour Cassell, Richard Dreyfuss, and Dan Hedaya in The Crew. So 3 movies to look at next time. We'll delve into those on the next episode. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the place on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. So with that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time, but until then, as always, take care.